continuing the semester online, from what I know. And then I also know that Vanderbilt is canceled classes for this week.
Yeah, I was just on Twitter earlier. I saw Syracuse University was another one that shut down. There's multiple more that will be in the coming future if it gets any worse.
Yeah. Coming up, we'll talk about the body found in Canaryville
and a Brigham City explosion. Stay tuned.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple. It's like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
Sheriff deputies in Iron County identified the body of a man found near Canaryville Saturday afternoon. Deputies located an adult male deceased in the field. Police have identified the body as a 22-year-old male from Taylorsville. Investigators were not able to identify the descent due to the condition of the body and the lack of any personal identification documents. The name of the descent will not be released at the time, pending the death notification to his family members.
Hypercomp Engineering Incorporated reports today that an employee has died in an explosion while working with high-pressure gas cylinders in Brigham City. The explosion took place at approximately 7:05 a.m. The explosion came from a shed within the company's property. The company states that normal operating procedures were in place and that the employee was trained in the operation. The employee's name is being withheld pending notification of kin. Hypercomp have stated that they are deeply saddened by this incident and that the small company with fewer than 20 employees work together like family.
Cleanup crews are in the process of removing debris and rubble across central Tennessee. People poured into Nashville on Saturday to help residents clean up their neighborhoods from debris and rubble after 7 deadly tornadoes passed through the area last Tuesday. While the city was grateful for the help, professional cleanup crews were hindered from removing debris by people parking on the streets affected by the tornadoes. City officials set up a park and ride system to help cleanup volunteers reach areas in North and East Nashville. The city is still recovering. A recent bill change allows parents to relinquish a baby at any Utah hospital within 30 days of birth with no questions asked. The previous safe haven law implemented a 72-hour limit. The new 30-day limit will allow mothers more time to decide whether they want to keep their child. Every state in the U.S. now has some version of a safe haven law. The law is headed to Governor Gary Herbert for his actions this Tuesday.
After successfully sneaking into Vivint Smart Home Arena, 2 19-year-olds will be nearing the age of 50 before being allowed to return. Pranksters Corey Wynn and Damon Mummert received a 30-year ban from the Salt Lake City venue where the Utah Jazz play after the duo posed as ready ice delivery men and simply walked into a low-security entrance. The two men's YouTube channel and Instagram handle, Speedy and the G, are loaded with other prank-style content where a hidden camera records the jokesters as they intentionally cause a public stir. Wynn told KSL reporters that he and Mummert, both graduates of Lone Peak High School, became bored after getting into the arena, so they pushed the limits of the prank to see how far they could go before getting caught. The two made it all the way onto the Jazz court before arousing suspicion and being escorted out by employees, but not before being slapped with a 3-decade ban.
It's really takes some guts to sneak into a public arena.
Exactly.
And one where there's an event going on at the moment, to push their luck to go even further.
Definitely a very bold prank and a very severe sentence that I don't know if I would be willing to risk it, especially seeing how with jazz games and also concerts that happen at the venue.
Definitely. I know I definitely want to be able to. It's 30 years is a long time,
It really is.
Caden, what do we have coming up in weather?
We've got some precipitation headed into the area. Stay tuned.
The average text takes your eyes off the road for nearly 5 seconds.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
Thank you, dear. Well, you're very supple. It's like I was at your age. Back then, I was a sex expert. Used to call me the buttered biscuit. I know about birth control, too. So you can ask me anything, baby.
Bedsider.org has birth control information and a lot more. And it's...
Have you had sex in this car yet?
Toxic chemicals and carcinogens are leaching into the environment. It's happening right where we live, work, and play. Everywhere. Cigarette butts are toxic waste. Let's stop the toxic litter. Learn more at rethinkbutts.org.
Welcome back to SUTV. I'm Caden Smith. We've got some wet weather coming up in the forecast. Here in Cedar City, it's cloudy today with 46 degrees right now. If we go to our high for today, it is going to be 52 with a low of 38. We do have a 20% chance of rain, so you will see some precipitation today, probably a few sprinkles around the area. It is pretty humid as well due to the moisture in the air. But as we move towards the week, we are going to see a little bit more clouds roll into the area. We will see the precipitation increase, especially as we move towards the weekend. We will have some possible snow showers Saturday and Monday as those temperatures dip from their current state right now. If you are headed down to St. George, it is beautiful weather today. It's 58 and cloudy. And looking at the high, we have a high of 64 and a low of 51. We don't have a chance of rain today. However, just like Cedar City, you may see a chance of spotty showers here and there. As we look towards the week in St. George, it is going to be cloudy, but the temperatures will remain high throughout the end of the week. But as we move into the weekend, we are going to see those temperatures dip down into the high 50s as we approach spring break next week. There will be a greater chance of showers as those clouds roll in and as the humidity increases. If you are going up to Bryan Head, dress appropriately because it is cold there and cloudy. 36 degrees right now with a high of 36 today and a low of 23. So it will dip down below freezing. So as that precipitation rolls in through the week, there is that greater chance of scattered snow showers, and that temperature will dip down to the low 30s. Snow showers will pick up around the area, so make sure that if you are going up to Bryan Head for spring break, dress warm, and if you are headed down to St. George, make sure that you prepare for that rain. Looking at historical temperatures 75 years ago, today here in Cedar City it's 52 and in St. George it's 64. If we look back, temperatures were a little bit higher 75 years ago. However, these temperatures are pretty normal for March here in the spring. So for southern Utah, we are looking at normal weather conditions. But like I said earlier, this precipitation is going to move into the area. We will see some scattered showers and possible snow here in Cedar City. So make sure that you dress appropriately and make sure that, as you plan for spring break, you make sure you're all ready. And I hope that you have a wonderful spring break next week. This is going to do it all for me on SUTV Weather. I'm Caden Smith. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for the weather update, Caden.
Connor, what do we have coming up in sports?
Yeah, men's and women's basketball both at the Big Sky Conference tournament this week. I'll tell you all about it after the break.
Awesome. Can't wait.
At what age is the color that your skin was meant to be no longer beautiful? Every year, millions of young women try to change the skin they were born with and say they die for darker skin. Sadly, some actually do. Melanoma is the second most common cancer in teens and young adults, and one person dies from melanoma every hour. Change your thinking, not your skin. Stop tanning. Learn more at spotskincancer.org. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. Since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early.
You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. If you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Looking for these? You drive buzzed. It could be one very expensive ride.
First, you gotta make bail. Then pay me to get your car back.
Your insurance premiums will go through the roof.
And my legal fees just keep adding up. All told, it could end up costing you $10,000.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
SUTV Sports, I'm Connor Sanders. Southern Utah men's basketball is preparing for the Big Sky tournament after a huge upset victory over the University of Montana. The T-Birds hadn't won against the Grizz since 2000, but broke the 15-game losing streak against Montana with an 85-80 win on Saturday. SU started out slow, falling behind by 16 before Cameron Oleuton nailed a three-pointer to spark a 13-3 run that pulled the T-Birds within 7 at halftime. Oleuton continued the momentum with a tough step-back jumper over all Big Sky first-team member Saeed Pridgett, and then later on, John Knight III tied the game after an 8-0 run that ended up with a tough layup in traffic, tying the teams at 50. Teams exchanged the lead 8 times over the last 10 minutes. Sophomore forward Harrison Butler hit a three-pointer to put SU up 2 with under 6 minutes to play. Butler, who has shot 36% from behind the arc this season, hit another huge three-pointer to give SU the lead in the final minute. Pridgett made a free throw to tie the game at 71, and Knight's buzzer-beating layup attempt did not fall, so the game went into overtime. The T-Birds outscored the Grizz 14-5 in the extra period, including some clutch free throws from Knight and Dre Marine, and ended up taking the victory 85-80. Butler and Leeton finished the game with 17 points each. Knight scored 14, and Andre Adams and Jacoby Long added 12 each. The win leaves the T-Birds at 16-15 overall and 9-11 in conference play at the conclusion of the regular season. The T-Birds will take on Idaho on Wednesday in the first round of the Big Sky Conference Tournament. The Southern Utah women's basketball team wrapped up their regular season Friday night with an 84-81 victory over the Montana Grizzlies. Thunderbirds finished the regular season with an overall record of 17-12 and 11-9 in Big Sky play. The team also recorded their most wins since the 2013-2014 season, when they went 23-10. Senior guard Rebecca Cardenas finished her final game at home as a Thunderbird with 24 points, while also hitting a key step-back jumper to bring the Thunderbirds into overtime. The T-Birds will look to continue their run in the Big Sky Conference Tournament this week as they walk into the tournament as a 6th seed.
I think it's still going to be a rebuilding process for us. I mean, I'm not going to be content with, 16, 17, 18 wins. Like, I want to win more. I want to win the conference. Want to, win the conference tournament. We want to get to the NCAA tournament. So I don't think we can ever settle.
Before the tournament began yesterday, Cardenas was named the Big Sky Defensive Player of the Year after averaging 3 steals per game. Cardenas was also a unanimous choice to the first team All-Big Sky team, while fellow guard Harley Hansen was named to the Big Sky Honorable Mention team. For an update on how the SU women's basketball team is going, we now go to our reporter Kurt Meekum, who's in Boise for the Big Sky tournament.
Hey guys, the SU women's team is looking to make a run in Boise this year to make the NCAA tourney, but to start that run they had to take on their rivals, the Weber State Wildcats.
The Wildcats kept this game close, but the fourth quarter is when the T-Birds were finally able to pull away. After Maddie Eaton misses a 3-point jumper, Shaylin Fano grabs the rebound and puts it in, giving the T-Birds a 2-point lead. Then it was time for Rebecca Cardenas to take over. She gets the assist as Jessica Chapman lays the ball in. And then later, Chapman finds Cardenas, who drives the ball in and puts in 2 points of her own to give the T-Birds a 49-46 lead with 5 minutes left in the game. Cardenas finished the game with 28 points and was the only T-Bird to score in double figures. The Wildcats tried to make things interesting with this heave from Kayla Watkins. But the T-Birds would hold on, surviving 62-58.
Now with the win, the T-Birds will take on Idaho State later tonight. The T-Birds split the season series with the Bengals 1-1, winning at home and losing on the road. They'll tip off about a half an hour after the Idaho Vandals and Portland State Vikings are wrapped up, so game time, no definite time. But that's all I've got for you guys today. For SUTV Sports at CenturyLink Arena in Boise, Idaho, I'm Kurt Meekum. Back to you guys.
SU soccer has never been known as a powerhouse program, but they're hoping to turn a new leaf with their new head coach, Kai Edwards. Our reporter, Bree Aldridge, has a story.
Can I?
After 30 losses in 2 years, the SU soccer team decided that it was time to move on from head coach Fred Thompson. To help with the rebuild, they hired Kai Edwards out of Cal Berkeley. The job first came to Edwards' attention thanks to a referral from an old friend.
One of my good friends is the women's basketball coach here. So when the job came available, she asked me would I be interested. And at first, I didn't know a tremendous about it.
From 2009 to 2014, Edwards was the head coach at St. Mary's in the West Coast Conference, helping the team to 7 top 25 wins. After leaving St. Mary's, Edwards was an assistant coach for the Michigan Wolverines, giving him a perspective of working with the smaller budget at SUU.
I feel like with the resources that we have, and every school has limited resources. I was at University of Michigan, and University of Michigan wishes they had North Carolina's and Texas's budget. So everyone has, a limited resource somewhere. I feel with the resources we have, we can be successful.
Edwards is hoping for a quick turnaround with his new team, similar to his previous experience with the Golden Bears.
I think we had 5 wins the year before I got there, and the year I came in, we went up to, landed with 13 wins, and back in the NCAA tournament with big wins at UCLA and home versus USC. So it was a good experience.
Despite the last 2 rough seasons, the T-Birds have large expectations for themselves in 2020.
So we have 3 words for this season that we kind of are sticking to as a program and as a team, and those are resilient, united, and determined. So those kind of encapsulate, I would say, like our whole team goals and like the program and the team that we want to be. So I would just say, yeah, those are our goals, and our goals always are going to stem off of those 3 words. So those are going to be like our roots.
Tangible goal would be make the Big Sky Conference tournament for the first time. They were 6 points out last year, and the way I explained it to them is we lost to Portland State 3-2, and Portland State was the last team in the conference tournament. Well, if we beat Portland State, we move up 3 points, and they go down 3, and you get in the conference tournament with a tiebreaker.
The team's first test at home will be against Snow College on March 28th. For SUTV News, I'm Brianna Aldridge.
That's all I've got for you today. For SUTV Sports, I'm Connor Sanders. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for a sports update, Connor. When we come back, we'll talk about visa coordinating with female entrepreneurs. Stay tuned.
Life is made of moments. Family. A drunk driver could take it all away. Keep your family safe on the road, because after all, nothing is more beautiful. Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Keep your family safe.
Hi, I'm Special Agent Diana Berrigan from the TV show White Collar. Did you know that it wasn't until 1972 that the first female earned an FBI Special Agent badge? Now women are helping solve crimes around the world in faraway places like Sarajevo, New Delhi, Lagos, and Tbilisi. To all our women fighting crime at home and overseas, thank you for keeping us safe. Happy anniversary.
March is Women's History Month, and to kick it off, Visa is partnering with 2 nonprofits to show the company's devotion to female business empowerment. According to Visa, the companies Hand in Hand International and I Fund Women will collaborate with Visa to support over 250 million female entrepreneurs worldwide. The number of women-owned businesses have grown and have become a driving force in economies.
The Me Too movement in France is newly motivated after Roman Polanski, widower of Sharon Tate and convicted child rapist, was given the top award for directing at the 45th César Awards ceremony on February 28th. Protesters gathered outside the Salle Pleyel in Paris, turning over signage for the award shows and starting fires. Inside, a procession of people left the building after the announcement, led by nominated actress Adèle Haenel, herself a survivor of child sexual assault at the hands of director Christophe Ruggia. Following closely behind was the director Céline Sciamma and the rest of the crew of her film, Portrait of Lady on Fire. As Haenel left, she yelled out shame, and after exiting the auditorium, she clapped sarcastically and shouted, "Well done, pedophilia." This comes after President Emmanuel Macron has promised to tackle violence against women since his election in 2017, but so far policies have failed to deliver.
Well, some awful news in the Europe front, but SU, there's a lot going on for sure right now.
Yeah, big news with the Big Sky Conference tournament, both those teams competing out there. And then hopefully everything stays okay with the outbreak doesn't surface here with the coronavirus.
Yes, I sure hope not. There are reports of instances in Utah. But
yes, I think that's just on the back of everyone's mind.
Yeah, I think that's the overwhelming theme right now for everyone.
Yeah, let's just hope it stays low.
Yeah, it does sound that like if people are staying in Cedar for spring break, they'll have nice weather though.
Definitely.
With spring coming up and the summer months just ahead.
Yeah, and then we have Sousa elections going on right now. I think the voting starts for that for the senators tomorrow. There was the debate this morning, so like you say, it's a really important time at SU right before spring break, and then, I mean, we're gonna have to see what happens with the rest of the semester. I've heard that maybe we might have to go onto a remote setting instead of coming into class to try and avoid the outbreak. So it's a stressful time, but it's a good time. I'm glad we have the weather and spring break to look forward to.
Yeah,
definitely. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Thomas Dianella.
I'm Caden Smith.
I'm Connor Sanders.
And I'm Alex Greenwell. Tune back in on Thursday for our Political Other show.